And we are live. Hello, everyone out there in the wonderful land of Twitch. This is John here with the leadership from Rook and Rasp. And of course, it is time for that occasional seance of Twitch of hello out there in chatland. Can you hear us? Hopefully, all is going well out there and everything. Yep, looks like we're doing pretty good. So, ladies and gentlemen, and folks of wherever you are. Welcome to Hecking Good Doggos. This is our third episode that we have done, and really excited. Things are going to maybe go up a few notches tonight. We'll see. I'm kind of I'm curious, you know. But all things considered, we're really thankful to have What A Games here on our channel, and specifically Matthew Orr coming in to lead the game. So Matt, I'm gonna go ahead and hand the discussion off to you, and we can get into game.
Yeah. All right. Uh, Thanks everybody for watching, and yeah, thanks for Rook and Rasp for hosting us in this actual play of our forthcoming Heckin' Good Doggos. Currently available for pre-order on the Kickstarter page, which I don't recall off the top of my head what it is because they start to get long, but I'm sure it'll be there in the doobly-doo description type thing because John's a master of that kind of stuff. Um, you can also just search Heckin' Good Doggos on Kickstarter, and you'll find it that way. Um, all right, I will uh, let everyone. Do we want to do like a? I don't know. I guess what we should do is, do we do icebreakers every week? I forget. Like, it's been 2 weeks since we played, so like, is that a normal thing, or
You
is
know,
it?
it's really up to the table. If you want to do a little bit of
Hmm.
icebreaker, you want to catch us off
Sure.
guard, or however you want to.
Okay.
Last week we talked about the everybody had a seagull story, or last time we did this.
Seagull or related seabird type story, I think. Yeah. Um, Yeah, so I want this week, and you can introduce like yourself a little bit and your character, and then give us your thing like all at once. We'll just go around the around the call once, and I think the thing that I'd like you to tell us about this time is any sort of like weather related memory that you have. You know, um, yeah, that's my thing. Weather related memory. So yeah, somebody take up the thing and tell us who you are and who you're playing tonight and what's your weather related memory.
Well, I'll go first. So hi, I'm Sierra. I am playing Artemis. She's a Dalmatian. Very excited to be here. Um, you can find me on the internet at Cecilencio. You can also find me on the Drunken Geek podcast. We are everywhere you find podcasts. We play Pathfinder Second Edition. Um, and weather related stories. When I was little, maybe early teens, I lived in Hawaii for a little bit. And when we lived in Hawaii, we would get these occasional sun showers that would come through like in the afternoons. It'd be like 80 degrees outside. It's hot, it's humid, and it would just start pouring. And I used to love to go outside and just stand in the rain and like dance around and hang out. And I would often take my younger siblings with me, and we'd have a lot of fun playing out in the rain for the like 15-minute cloud bursts that you would get.
Nice.
Yeah,
Nice.
I still love rain.
Yeah. Rain is fun.
Oh,
Uh, go ahead.
no, no, go ahead, please.
Okay. All right. So, hi, I'm Corey. I am playing Daily the Mite. She's big, beautiful Newfoundland Saint Bernard mix. You can find me at the Midnight Alley podcast. That's on Instagram and YouTube eventually. Um, but my favorite weather related story, I've got a few, but I think my absolute favorite is when I was a child. My mom, my grandmother, and I would just pile into the car and go for a drive. And this was around Houston and the surrounding areas, so it's all fine. Middle of summer, when it's nice, and again, you get those summer coastal showers coming through. This one was a thunderstorm. We were going up one of the big overpasses in Houston, and my grandmother is telling mom a story, and I'm just in the back seat. My grandmother says something about something being right there and points at someplace, and right as she's pointing, lightning strikes that place. Like right in line of her finger. And the whole car just burst out laughing. So it was
That's
one of those
awesome.
funny moments where it's just like the timing was impeccable.
Frau Blucher.
I know. But my grandmother was a sweetheart. So
And she knew call lightning.
apparently might explain a few things about me now.
Well,
John, go ahead.
sure. Okay. Well, weather-related stories. I like to think that I had a pretty normal upbringing. I'd like to think that. But little did I realize that having a dad who, in his spare time, was a tornado chaser was not normal.
Ooh.
And so I remember living up in North Texas, going out with my dad to go sit in a parking lot near, just on the outskirts of town, watching for tornadoes. And thinking nothing of it because I was a little kid and I didn't know any better. It's my dad; he's a
Right.
Superman, and this is normal, right? We chasing tornadoes is normal. So yeah, that if I had to list off some weird memory about weather, that's going to be one of them.
Yeah. I mean,
And
as
who are
long as he
you?
was staying safe. Oh yeah, who are you playing? That's the
Yeah,
question.
who are
Oh,
you playing?
I am playing Bandit the Shih Tzu and the little shit of the group. So
That's why you picked that dog breed.
maybe a little bit, maybe a little bit.
Hard yes on that one for sure. All right, well, I guess I'm last. Of course, again, buying myself time to think of a good weather memory. I'm Michael. You can find me on the internets at LoserMLW on all the socials. You can see me or hear me on the Redemption Podcast, which is a Star Wars actual play. And you can see me on the Identical channel on Twitch. It's twitch.tv/Identico. And that's a cyberpunk game I'm on. That's also on hiatus. Both of my main productions are on hiatus, so glad I'm here. I play. I'm playing London the Husky, who is kind of rambunctious and young and a little bit reckless. And for a weather story, I have two brief ones. One, as a small child, my family moved to Maine for about a year for my parents to relocate for a job, my dad to relocate. In Maine, we actually had snowfall so heavy that I got to make tunnels. My sister and I made tunnels through the snow from our front door all the way around the house to the back door. And we were able to basically crawl through those tunnels for, if I recall correctly, about 2 weeks because the weather was so poor. Um, and we made actually one tunnel that went off of the main run that went right to the little bus stop at the end of the lane. So we would literally leave the front door, crawl through this little snow tunnel to get to our bus stop. The other great weather memory I have, I'm sharing too, so
It
is
took
that
long enough to think of two. Go ahead.
I know it really did. Like both of them came up around the same time. In high school, I used to sit with a good friend of mine at the grocery store, one of our local grocery stores, that sat basically on top of a large hill, a rise that kind of sat above the town. The town was kind of in a river valley. And so when storms would roll in, we'd frequently like run, go grab like something to eat at McDonald's or Taco Bell and drive up to that parking lot and just sit in the parking lot and watching these storms roll over the town. Um, Always calming, always really cool, you know. So that's it.
Oh,
All right.
I like memories like that too. Watching the storms roll in is one of my
Mm-hmm.
favorite things to do.
Yeah, that
Also, a good song lyric.
Hmm.
yeah. So my name is Matt Orr, and I co-owner Wedding Games, and you can find us on Instagram and Facebook, and we are at weddinggames.com, and we have a YouTube and stuff. So basically all the socials. And then I am the game master here, the narrator, the storyteller, and my weather-related memory is similar to what you were just talking about watching the storms come in. This is a couple years ago. My wife and I were hiking, and we were kind of like watching the time, and we're like, well, this trail's this long, and the storm's going to be here at this time, and like we'll probably be all right. And so we did the trail, and that trail ended kind of on a rise. And there's not like mountains in my part of the country, but it was a hill, and the storm kind of came over the hill, the rise that we were on, and there were enough trees that we didn't actually get wet, but we could like look out through the trunks of the trees and see like how heavy it was raining, not very far away, because there's just not the trees. You're walking across the top of the ridge, and it's just there's not very much room before you're like looking at sky. And so it was like, oh, it's reached us, here it is, downpour of rain. But we were relatively dry because we were under the trees still, so it was nice to see the ferocity of the weather, but from a relatively safe perspective. At least not, it's not safe, we're like on the ridge as the storm blows over, but like it was picturesque. Picturesque. So, okay. So, I think with those memories in mind, I would like to start the game off by saying that it has been raining here. It's been a few weeks since our last adventure, literally and in the game, and it's just been raining a lot the last couple weeks. Like, it feels like it's just not rained. It feels like it's been raining all the time. Like, not downpours, like a drizzle, that like where the cloud, and I don't know if, because different parts of the country have different weather, but like here in the Ohio Valley, like you'll get these, like, it just clouds up and then it just rains for like 2 weeks. And you never see the sun, and it never stops raining. And it doesn't happen as much as it used to, but, you know, there's probably nothing wrong with the planet at all. But anyway, it's been doing something similar to that, where it just feels like it's raining all the time, and there's like just the grass is all wet. Like you guys, you as doggos are familiar with like going outside and into the grass, and the grass is just wet, and there's that like soupy sort of like mud that's right under the surface. Like it looks like grass until you step on it, and then it's like water. You know, if you've ever experienced that. You know, any depression at all in the yard makes a puddle. You know, that's kind of the thing that the ground is very saturated. And so I'd kind of like to set a little scene for each one of you, and kind of like what has, over this last couple weeks when you've had to be, I mean, you could be outside, but you'll be getting wet, or you could be inside, but not able to go outside. So what kind of things have you and your human best friends been kind of doing, kind of dealing with this weather? Like, what kind of place are you each in after a couple weeks of pretty consistent rain like that? Yeah. And I also I have a note to remind you all that first off, you should have taken a point of experience from last time, after your last adventure, and also the narrative stuff that's at the top of the character sheet you're able to invoke that to add narrative elements to the story, you know, because you know the neighborhood, or you know what your best friend does, or you know what kind of dog you are, those things. So I haven't reminded you to use those as much, but I want to remind you now at the beginning of this session that you can do that. So those are my notes, and I'd like to see what you've been up to with your best friends over the last couple weeks when it's been so rainy.
Well,
Where do you
Who wants to go first?
as we all rock, paper, scissors to see who
Yeah,
goes
yeah.
first.
Everybody wants to share at once. That's fine.
All right, well, I'll jump in first. So Artemis does not like getting wet. However, Artemis loves jumping in puddles.
Oh.
It's a very weird dichotomy for her. So what has happened here actually is that her mother has purchased them matching rain boots and coats. And so every time they go outside, there's obviously a little bit of a photo op as Artemis jumps in a puddle, proceeds to realize that, oh no, now there's rain in her boots, and now she's miffed because she doesn't like getting wet. But I think she and her mom have just been going around, and not only trying to like help get some of Artemis's energy out while also trying to stay as dry as possible in the rain, but also stopping in and checking in on other people, because her mom knows a lot of the people that are around town, and just checking in at different shops and going to their local Star Pups. You know, the huge.
Right.
Did I ever say what Daly's mom, Becky, was a major in? Because if not, I know what she's a major in now.
I think you did, but I don't remember. So, I mean,
Anybody else?
cool.
Double
Same.
major.
Double major. Whatever she's majoring in is one thing, but she's also got, like, it's a minor to the point of it should be a double major in meteorology.
Oh.
So she's just
okay.
So what she and Daly have been doing is just kind of taking, during like the least heavy parts of the drizzle, taking walks over to the lake just to kind of keep an eye on it.
Okay.
So, I mean, it gets Daly out for a walk. She's not happy, but otherwise shrugs off the wet in her fur. She'll just
Right.
sit in front of the fireplace for a while while she dries off when she gets home. So, but yeah, they've been kind of monitoring the lake levels as this weather event kind of continues on. So,
Yeah. Well, there's more rain and more water in the lake, so that's definitely something you've noticed.
yeah, I mean, Becky's probably been either putting a stick at the edge on a consistent basis or actually taking photos and actual notes for a class. One of the two. Maybe both.
Right. Might get a paper out of this. All right. London or you going? You're claiming it.
I'll go.
Nope, John's gonna go. John's gonna go.
I'm gonna go. Okay.
We're so polite.
Well,
No, you first. No, you. No, you. No, you first. John, you first.
so for Bandit, he's kind of a dirty dog to begin with, and doesn't really mind the rain so much. For the most part, it's business as usual. Jimmy operates as a mechanic out of his garage. So the garage doors open, people bring up their cars, he fixes them there, and Bandit is laying, in the dust bunnies of the shop, just, kind of watching. But he'll sneak out ever so often and go back to the fallen over treehouse to leave things there, because there was that big group of the dogs who had come through, and he's like, they might not, they're wild dogs, or wild-ish, but they might not be able to hunt as well, or they might just need something to eat. So he'll bring treats out there every so often for them. Just leave them there, even if he doesn't see them. He's like, if they don't grab it, the raccoons probably will.
That's so sweet.
But
It is sweet.
other than that, I would imagine at some point, especially if it's been raining for a while, and Bandit just doesn't seem to care about it, I could imagine Jimmy one day going out there with a bottle of dog shampoo in the rain and giving him a bath in the middle of that. And
Oh,
so, not saying I have any experience doing that with a dog, mind you. But yeah. No.
It's cute.
London is loving this weather, as well as his best friend Tommy, they are hiking all the time. Whenever Tommy has some extra time, Tommy will throw his dog poncho on London, pulling the hood up over his ears to make sure he doesn't get any water in his ears, and then they will just go hiking. So he does his best to stay dry, but he loves to, as others, play in the puddles and sniff around in the wet. And he's really been loving this little streak as much as he loves playing in the sun.
Nice.
Getting to hike with his best friend is one of his favorite activities, and they're doing a lot of it right now.
Nice. All right. Great. Thank you for all that setup. You've given me. I've been taking notes, so hopefully I'll refer back to them later, and it'll look like we all planned this together.
We did, didn't we?
Yeah, of course.
Obviously.
Okay, so as you yeah, this mix of like some of you were feeling like, oh, this is great. Some of you were feeling like, this is the same as ever. Some of you were feeling like, I don't know about this. Kind of a mix of emotions that I'm getting. So I want you all to roll a. We're gonna do something else that's a little atypical from the rules. So this is a special sensing roll that's going to be modified by guts instead of knowing or smarts. So sensing, but you modify it as if sensing was a guts roll instead of a smarts roll, if that makes sense.
All right.
You want us all to just go ahead and roll, or you want us to call it
Yeah, I
out?
want everyone to roll, and it's sort of like a setup for part of the story is going to be set up by this roll. Like, we want somebody to have the highest roll here.
Won't be me. I have 2 dots in that, so I'm rolling, and I don't even have any abilities in it, so I'm rolling 1 dice, and we'll see what I get. I'll re-roll if I need it. Hey, there we go. I got a 5. So
All right, a 5.
I at least have one success.
One success is more than none.
Yeah, using my last tip to reroll. Okay, 2 successes.
All right.
I also got 2 successes. I actually took one in sensing after our last one, so she's got some teensy smarts this time. But I got a 6, a 5, and a 3, so 2 successes.
Nice.
I had to spend a pip because London does not have sensing. So I will roll my other 3 dice.
All right.
That's 2 successes.
All right, so we got multiple 2 successes. So I really want somebody to get the highest. So I'm gonna have the 3 of you that got 2 re-roll. So you
roll
called
off.
it. Yeah, it's a roll off. Somebody's gonna get, and if we tie again, then we'll roll again. Somebody's gonna get the most for this sort of setup at the beginning of the adventure.
Okay.
I could have just rolled myself, but I guess I didn't want it to be random. I wanted it to be based on your own actions.
Do pips still count for, like, if we just rolled what we last time, we do still reset the pips for a reroll?
Yeah.
like this?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, every roll is you use your full stats. So
Okay.
Well, I think I got this in the bag, so
you got 3 this time?
It's not a
No, I got 1.
competition, remember?
I was sorry, I wasn't clear. I was looking at Corey.
Yeah.
You want the highest roll. Oh no, I got 1 success. I got the lowest number of successes other than 0. So,
There you go.
We're
Daily got
number
3.
1. We're number.
Right, hold on.
I also got 3.
Oh,
6, a 6,
man.
and a 5.
Same here.
Yeah. You all are gonna do it again. Do it again, please. Roll off.
Do it.
Roll off.
Definitely. Oh. Just one.
I got another 6, 6, and 5.
Wow. Wow.
Nice.
Okay.
I got a 6, 6, 3, and then I re-rolled the 3. I'm not doing fine.
That's
That's
that's great.
awesome.
The least smart dog.
Yeah, but you're
Well-
using beds this time.
That's
So
So, you, Artemis, like you're having these things and you're making these memories. You're putting on your little doggy raincoat, and it's you're just not bothered by any of this. Like it just seems you just get this vibe from Buffy. That everything's going to be fine. You're sensing that there's nothing wrong. You just that's your sense, and everything you're experiencing here with the rain and all the things, like it's just not. It's just there's nothing wrong with that, which is. I mean, obviously, it's not like it's necessarily normal, but like you're like, it'll be okay. It'll be okay. You're just feeling like it'll be okay. Okay. All right. So after you've kind of gotten this sense, you're kind of like at the different points with the experience. I think the news is going to come to you daily because Becky is the one who's adopted the whole murder of crows. So
Yeah.
I think that's going to come to the news, or maybe even no. I think it has to come from the crows. So you're there, and there's always a few crows hanging around, and I think you described last time how Becky has started putting out peanuts for them and stuff like that, in addition to like a bird bath and stuff like that. So there's always a few hanging around, but then you're there in your yard somewhere, and there's a crow that comes, and this is a little bit. It's like it's not just this crow seems to arrive with a purpose, right? And so kind of comes and reports to, kind of flops down out of the sky almost, and like I believe you described like your patio as like you have a patio at your
Yeah.
at your house, and you like to sit out on the patio, right? Is that
Yeah, that
Am I
covered
right?
front porch that, I mean, she can watch the rain and stay dry kind of from.
right? So this crow kind of comes in under that porch, and it's like flicking its feathers to kind of like puffed itself up and flicks a bunch of rain off of it, and then like straightens itself back up, and then it tells you that basically that there's like I thought I don't remember the voices that I did for the crows from the while ago, but it's like it's sort of it's just sort of like the trouble for a furry one down by the lake and no good for the four legs, it's right, and kind of like cocks its head at you, and like expectantly, like my message is delivered. Now, what are you gonna do?
I'm going to go investigate the lake and maybe drag Becky with me. Just kind of whine and bark at her and like just point in that direction.
Okay.
Like, so yeah.
All right.
And-
So you
yeah.
get her attention, and you are gonna go, and I mean, you've been, as you just described recently, you've been down to the lake a few times. So like you can you know your way to the lake, and you're kind of almost pulling Becky with you as you head there, and you're a big dog, so it's probably not too much trouble.
Yeah, I'm being gentle because, I mean, she's still a tiny human comparatively.
Sure.
She's an adult, she's tiny. But, yeah, there's a little bit of urgency in my walking.
Just
So-
Okay.
I want to interrupt for just a second to say that, Matt, you could be in some trouble because chat is going re-roll crazy.
Oh man.
So whatever danger you're going to put the pups in tonight, I think we might have it covered.
Well, it's all about storytelling, and if
You
you
might have to
overcome,
up your game tonight.
all right.
Don't challenge
well,
him too much.
This is still an all ages game. It's about how the story that is told by the succeeding, not necessarily. that- I'm not going for a total party kill here. So
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Yes.
that's for a different kind of game. All right. And do you do any other sort of like you don't? You didn't say you grabbed your friends with you, so like this is just you and Becky
No.
going down there. So
Yeah.
we're going
yet.
to, yeah. So you go down to the creek, or you go down to the river, and I think that it's not. There's maybe an area of the lake where it's almost like at that point where it's like the water, since the last time you were down at the lake, the water has like you could kind of imagine like the bank of a lake that is steep, but then at some point it kind of like levels out, so
The
it's like
floodplain area.
right, exactly. So like you've kind of like since the last time that you were down here at the lake, which maybe was just yesterday, it's kind of gone over that point where it's like it's no longer like the same general shape as it was. It's starting to like look a lot bigger and take on like a lot of an unusual shape. So like you arrive at the lake early because it's come up the bank in such an unusual way here, and it just gives you a sense of like it almost throws your whole geography off of like your reference points and stuff like that, because like the sidewalk ends too early, and the trees that are supposed to be next to the lake aren't next to the lake because
They're
those trees
in
are
the
now
lake.
in the lake. So it's this really weird scene, and you can kind of follow, like the crow kind of came with you when you and Becky went down there, and so like the crow is sort of like leading you to this place, and there's sort of near to where you have been with Becky to observe the lake in the past. There's sort of a creek that comes into it, that kind of flows through the neighborhood a little bit, and there's sort of you're not exactly sure what it is, but there's like almost like a box, a concrete box, a box made of the street, the same stuff that's made of the street is made of, that's kind of at that confluence of where this creek meets this lake. And so as the lake has gotten bigger, this water area has now, you can see the water from the creek flowing into it, and it's this kind of churning area, and it's a lot bigger than it should be, and there is this like concrete box that's kind of right in the middle of where that creek is, and on top of it is Snips, the dog that you met at the party at Artemis's. It was a birthday party, right, for Artemis, a couple at the dog park a couple weeks back, and this dog is just on the top of this. Somehow it got up there on top of this box. It's now in the middle of a creek, and it's just freaking out, barking, shouting. Like it's not even really coherent. Like it's a lot of barking and just like kind of freaked out screaming but in dog form.
I don't play. I'm assuming it's stranded in the middle of this.
Yeah, it's on the top of the box, and now it's surrounded by all this churning brown water that is that's where the lake has gotten higher and the creek has gotten higher, and it's just on this isolated little island now in all this swirling brown water. And Snips is a pretty small little dog, little terrier. So
Yeah.
this
Uh,
is
Daly's going to do several things like in quick succession.
all right.
First thing being, she's going to slip out of her collar. She's just going to back out of it real quick and shake it off.
All right.
She's going to bark at the crow that got her attention first to get the others, because she's probably going to need help. And then she's going to use her size and her bulk to her advantage and jump in to get Spitz.
All right. So this is going to be a series of things here, and I think I'll give you the collar action for free, and then you've dispatched some help. So go get the others. I'm sure the crow will know exactly what to do there. and then you're just jumping into the flowing water, or are you like uh,
I mean, she'll probably pace the bank a little bit just to kind of judge where the current is. Jump in up current to use the current to kind of surf along, and then get to him on that concrete box.
okay? Yeah. So I think I'm gonna give you. Since you just went for it, I think I'm gonna give you. You're gonna have to swim out to the swim across this. So I think it's water looks a lot less churny and bubbling from your point of view compared to the small little terrier. So I think I want you to do a performing and get 2 successes on performing.
Okay, so I have to spend a pip to get it, and then I'm going to spend my other 2 pips just to get me the other dice.
Yeah, it's close.
Ooh, yeah, I'm going to have to burn one of the
Apparently, there's
thought
chat
rerolls.
rerolls, so
I don't know how many I have, but
I think we all
I think
actually
each
have
dog
2.
has 2.
2. Okay,
And then
So I'm
there's
burning-
one on the table.
I am burning
So-
one of the
Anyone
bot
who
ones.
Yeah,
for
thank
me.
you both, Ala and Rue, for buying
Yes.
those.
Yes, thank you, because that did give me my 2 successes. I am remembering correctly that a 6 only counts for 1 success.
Yeah,
correct?
so you
Yeah.
have to get a 5 or 6 on a die is a success. So you need both of your dice to come up successes.
Yeah, I got a 5 and a 6. So.
All right, great. So you are able to swim out and kind of, like you said, you pace the stream. You kind of did your position, and you judged it just right. And you're kind of I imagine you wanted to land kind of upstream of the box so that you're kind of the water is, you can kind of like brace yourself there against this concrete structure. While the water kind of flows around you. I that's how I imagine it. But like if that's not exactly what you imagined, then you
Yeah,
can.
it's close enough.
Okay.
Is he wearing a harness or a collar himself?
Let's say that he's got like a harnessy kind of thing on. Yeah, like one of the little, like a vest kind of collar,
Yeah.
or a vest shaped thing, befitting his very small little dog size. And it happens to be, and so for mild comedy purposes, let's say that it's like a neon yellow kind of thing, so it actually looks like a life vest in this context, but it isn't. It just is the yellow little what is nylon-y kind of shirt thing. Okay, so, and seeing you arrive doesn't really calm Snips down. So now that you've put yourself in the situation, I want you to. You're going to have to do a conflict here, because Snips is sort of like driven to sort of a point of fear where like you're going to have to calm him down before you can render assistance, basically.
Yeah.
And since you're at the moment there by yourself, you're gonna have to do it yourself and see what you can do here. So I want you to get either like 3 hearts or 4 spades. That's what I had set up as the thing, which is pretty tough for one dog by themselves to only have 4 cards.
Yeah.
I will also, I think that, yeah, I don't know. Like, I think that's what you've got to do, and we'll see what if your 4 cards that you have are just the right 4 cards. You'll be the biggest hero ever, and if not, then we'll see what happens if you can't pull it together.
Yeah. Well, unfortunately, the hilarity is I have exactly one of each. So
Right.
I'm going to put the heart on the table, though, because if anything, even if she can't calm him down immediately, she's going to try and be at least like talking him down so he doesn't panic. at least. Like,
Okay.
she may not be fully successful in completely de-escalating, but she's not going to make it worse, is what she's hoping for.
Okay. All right.
She can also, like, hey, if something does come downstream and looks like it's going to hit him, she can still move and get him out of the way real quick,
Okay.
kind of thing.
Okay. So you're there, and I'm going to ask one sort of role play kind of thing. Like, what do you think Becky is doing when you decide to have your hero moment here, Daily?
The first thing she does is hit the emergency button on her neighborhood app, kind of thing. Probably, I don't know what they call it. I don't use one personally, but there is probably definitely like a group chat, at least between Daly's pack and the other owners. Hitting my microphone, I'm apologizing. And she definitely hits them up, going like, "Oh shit, we've got trouble." She might even have Spitz and some of the other rival packs
Yeah.
in her contact list. She's probably on the phone with Spitz's owner.
Okay.
So.
That
Or not owner, but yeah, you know what I mean.
yeah. Spitz has a best friend somewhere, or
Yeah.
Snips.
Snips.
Spitz is actually maybe a better name.
Either way, Snips, Spitz. It could be Spitz, and everybody keeps calling him Snips. And
Yeah. Yeah.
one of those.
Maybe that's why he's so mad.
Okay, so let me think about how much time this has taken up and how much the crow. So you only had one card, so you get to draw back up your cards. I don't think you can like discard all. I don't think you can like clear your hand. I don't think that's like a thing you can do. So you still only have like one maximum card to try and get this done. Well, I mean, maybe you drew another one of each. You might, yeah, I don't know. Okay, so let's see. So I think that we'll switch over from that, and if you, the way you've brought in this idea of like a text thread going on with some of the neighbors, and so I think that anyone who's human, anyone whose best friend is part of that thread will get the message kind of as this is going down. So you may know about it, but I think one of you will get the message from the crow that comes back simultaneously, nearly. So let's see. You've identified yourself as reckless, London. So I think you are gonna you're gonna be the second one to get the message from the crow that like. The crow has flown back here and is giving you the same message that you got from where do you think you are on this gloomy, rainy afternoon or mid morning?
I'm willing to say I think London and Tommy are coming back from a long walk into some nearby woods, just a little hike, nothing too strenuous.
Okay.
But they're just getting back near the house when they're intercepted by the crow.
Or are you like still like if the woods are connected, like the woodland area was next to the lake, and is it that woodland area, and maybe you're the closest one
Possibly.
to
that would make sense.
to the situation. That's why the crow comes to you next.
Certainly, wearing the bright orange poncho, easiest to see, perhaps.
Okay, so you get the same sort of message about like the furry ones, trouble, lake, water high, danger. It's kind of like circling around you and crowing, and you can hear what it's saying. And Tommy probably is giving it like a what is going on kind of look, but like you've got, you can hear that it's like saying that there's a furry a furry leg or furry foreleg is in danger by the lake.
London will upon getting the message. London will pace back and forth around Tommy for a second, and then he'll go back on his haunches and he'll issue the warning howl into the air. The neighborhood Avengers assemble,
Yeah.
the yell. So you hear
All right. And then what are going to do
And-
next?
and-
You give the howl, and then
and London's not going to wait around for the rest of the group. London's going to start dragging Tommy toward the lake. London being blood of a sled dog, even if he's by himself, can give a good yank on that leash.
Yeah. Especially if the ground is muddy and Tommy's not prepared.
yeah, there's a little bit of sledding or skiing that happens a little yeah, because the water's so moist, especially down here by the lake. It's almost like a water ski hydroplaning effect for a moment as you yank Tommy toward the direction of this.
I definitely feel like London goes, and of course he feels the leash pull tight, and then he runs back toward Tommy, and barks up, and then just runs back in the direction of the lake.
Okay. Okay, so we'll so Artemis and Bandit, you are wherever you are when you hear kind of you almost probably find out because the human would have found out first via text. So now you're hearing London give the pack assembly bark down by the out. You just barely hear it because it's down outside of the neighborhood, further away from where you are, like in the at the edge of the wilderness area, at the edge of the lake, down a good ways away. But you hear it because you have to hear it to assemble. And about the same time, you get maybe I don't know, your best friends are probably also finding out the text from the trouble. So you two can do whatever you want to move in that direction or not. I mean, I don't know, whatever you.
I take off. I mean, I hear the howl, and I'm like, "Oh, time to go!" And out the door of the garage, I just take off.
All right, cool.
And I think as soon as Buffy gets the text about Daly jumping in to the lake, she starts to put on her rain jacket and boots so that she can go out and see what she can do to help. And as soon as Artemis sees her doing that, after she's heard the assemble howl outside, she is going over and pawing at her mom, trying to get her mom to put her stuff on too so that she can go help.
Okay.
We'll see. It's 15 minutes, 5 minutes to don light armor. Is that how it works here? Heavy armor's 15 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is yeah. Yeah. I think if you're taking some time, you'll definitely be a little behind, but not. Yeah. We don't have. There's no neighborhood barding rules.
It's a very easy Velcro outfit. It might have a button or two, but it's fine.
Right. Okay. So you all are assembling down there, and London, obviously, you arrive next, and you see Daly's human there. Daly's best friend. She's kind of she's got the little light up talking box to her face, which you know generally that means that's how humans sometimes talk to each other or communicate something. And there's certainly effects that come from the light up talking box when the human puts it to the face. And then you see Daly out in the water as well, with some, the same situation I described earlier. The confluence of the lake and the creek, and there's now two dogs that are kind of on this box, and Daly's kind of I don't know, kind of not pressed up against it in a dangerous kind of way, but sort of half treading water, half like kind of bracing against the thing, and then you've got Snips on top of this concrete box, just barking away and running around. And that's what you see, London. And
I
you'll
think
join
what-
shortly, Bandit.
In the confusion as they arrive, and I'm sure London's friend Tommy probably goes to talk. London will try to pull the leash out of Tommy's hand.
Okay. I think the challenge here is not getting freedom of action. So yeah, if you're
Okay.
getting yourself free of
Yeah.
the leash,
So
then
so
that's
he
fine.
so London wants the leash, just not attached to Tommy.
Okay.
So London will just kind of like wiggle a bit and try and slip it free of his hand while he's distracted. And
All right. Like
then
you're
we'll-
holding on to the end of it in your
yeah,
mouth.
he grabs the end of the leash, the human end of the leash, in his mouth, and like runs over to the edge of the water, and he's gonna try and throw that end of the leash out toward Daly.
Okay.
All right.
What would you like? I think, I could go braving, surviving away from home, but this might be a feat of agility or strength. It's really your call.
I have written down if you're trying to do something with rope, that's like a fiddling roll.
Okay. I have no points in fiddling, so let's see if I can defeat this particular devil.
Uh,
I will
resistance
split-
rolls a thing.
A sort of. I mean, if it comes up, it would be the staying in one place.
Okay.
If it matters, that's the closest fit for that. But no, not in the. There's not like a separate Constitution score or something like that.
I have 3 pips in smarts. I'm going to spend 1 for a fiddling pip, so I will roll 2 dice.
Okay.
And again, chat, thank you for the rerolls
Yes.
preemptively. Yeah, so I'm going to use one of my rerolls because there were 0 successes in that particular set of rolls. Come on, dice. That's better. A 5 and a 6.
All right, that's pretty impressive. So, what exactly are you hoping to accomplish with the rope / leash that you have?
So London is trying to give Daly like an anchor, right? So even if obviously Daly's a bigger dog than London, but if there's a rope out there, or if Daly can grab the end of the leash, then it might make things easier on London to get out of there when, and it also gives us a point of anchor in case someone smaller wants to try to make it out to Daly.
Yeah.
Once the rest of the Pawvengers arrive.
Avengers. Perfect. Okay, so I think Daly, if you are participating in this plan of taking the leash, you can do it.
Yeah.
Leashes aren't that long, but it'll be narratively long enough to
Maybe in this case, the leash is one of those retractable leashes, so the act of London like throwing it causes it to like unravel.
Actually, I have
Oh.
a point of note.
Oh,
In real life, one of the leashes we use for our dogs is actually a horse lead. So it's about 50 feet long almost.
Dang.
Or not 50, but it's long.
Okay.
So
I could see Tommy having a long lead for London because again they're
They're
hiking
hiking and
buddies.
stuff. Yeah.
yeah.
All right. I mean, It, realities aside, like it is narratively,
It's
possible
narratively
to
long
accomplish what you're doing if you're participating in this attempt.
Yeah.
All right,
Yeah.
great.
I am
And
participating.
I'd also like to make a roll if you don't mind. I have one more ability that I think
Alright.
London would use at this point, and that is staying in place no matter what.
Okay. That may
Oh.
come up in a second. I think I think we'll see what. There's not a major challenge to your positioning at the moment,
Okay.
but there might be. So we'll see. So I think this is about the time that Bandit, you can arrive on the scene because you took off like a shot to get there. So the third member of the Paw Avengers arrives, and you see two people kind of waving and shouting on the shore. You see Snips, your frenemy like rival, still freaking out on the top of the box, and two of your good pals here, kind of stretched between this rope on opposite sides. One at the box, one on the shore. And there's a leash stretched between them.
I'm just gonna
Great.
imagine what this looks like to Becky at this point.
Bandit's gonna run over really quick. It's like, hey, and his little Shih Tzu bark. That hey, what now? Hey,
Can you get him over there to you?
what do you need?
London's like, we gotta save the little guy. We gotta save the little guy.
Call
The leash,
Stretch
the
over
leash
to
is
you.
still attached to London's collar, so he's like,
Do you need the leash to get to them or something? I'm trying to figure this out here.
Daly's at the box with Snips, by the way.
Okay,
She's kind
so
of using her body as like a block from anything coming upstream at this point. She's trying to talk Snips down, but it's not.
all right, so
working.
Daly is with Snips. London is
and
trying
you
to.
can see that Daly's treading water. Like I don't believe Daly's just standing there. Correct? Daly's actually.
Yeah, I mean, she's got
Swimming.
her front paws on the box, so if she absolutely needs, or the water starts rising, she can grab Snips and hope he doesn't bite her in the process. But for the moment, she's trying to get it to be his own idea to get off this box and to a shoreline.
Narratively, what kind of lake are we looking at? I mean, you said there's a stream coming into it,
Mm-hmm.
and then there's more likely a river or stream leaving it.
I don't know. Like, that's not nearby, but like, I imagine that, like, sure, there's like, obviously hydrologically, there's got to be some sort of like inflow outflow system that's going on. But I have in mind a particular like lake that I know that, I mean, it's like I don't know whether it was a man-made lake or not, but it was a good-sized lake, and there was a park around it, so you could go to the park and then see the lake. But I mean, so I'm thinking that it's not like the other side is nearby. It's fairly good size. Like, I think the lake is like a sports stadium size body of water, right? So like the other side of the lake is visible, but there's a lot of water in between you and the other side of the lake.
And
So
there's somebody has their leash or lead going across the water to Daly.
currently,
'cause
yeah.
There's the lake and there's the creek that intersects the lake, and we're in the creek part of that intersection.
All right.
So it's not that long.
The concrete box is in the flow of the creek that's going into the lake.
Right.
That's why the little dog is stuck on the box.
Yeah.
I'd like to ask narratively, is there perhaps a small little, say, dock with like rowboats on it?
I mean, probably there's something like that at somewhere nearby, and I can almost see if you are like I can almost imagine, like, again, this sort of like idea that this is sort of like a public water area. There probably is some sort of boat rental somewhere, and it's obviously been closed down as the water rose above where it should be, but like the boats still are going to float, so they're probably yeah, I mean, I can see that there is some sort of boat. You're looking for a boat itself, not necessarily
Yeah.
like
Well, like a 1 or 2 person rowboat or anything like that. Something that is
Sure.
either tied off the dock or near it.
Well, yeah, I think if you want to get access to a boat, I think that is something that you can do. Like a rental boat, the kind that you might have at like a, that
Yeah.
like a like a fun park or something like that.
Yeah.
Almost like a paddle boat, right?
Or
That,
those romantic like teen movies where all of a sudden there's a boat and you're like, where'd that boat come from? And they're out in the middle of the lake on that boat. One of those kind of things.
sure.
Make him a little rental space.
But what I'd like then is if it is in the water, I'm gonna make my way towards it. But if somebody has pulled them all up onto shore because of the the amount of rain and everything, I'm gonna try and get the humans' attention and try and get them over towards the boats.
Okay. I think that is something you could try. I think you could try to direct. I think that would be. I think that's a great idea. I think you could try to do that. Let me see what I have notes somewhere about interacting with the humans.
I would personally, because I'm trying to get their attention as much as possible, I want to do that, that zoomy spin of, trying to get the human bark, 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 zoomy spin. So performing, maybe.
Well, I was thinking like the human. I'm thinking like it's more of a conflict because humans are they're another being. So you're actually in. They're trying to they're like focused on one thing, and you're trying to like direct their attention somewhere else. And I think also simultaneously kind of communicate your intention here. I think so. It's kind of a complex thing, but I think I think they're favorably disposed to you because these aren't like rival humans. It's more of redirecting their focus. I think so. I think just a couple. I would say a couple cards of basically any type for you to pull this out.
All right. How many cards were we supposed to start off with?
You start with 4. So if you've got any matching cards, or you can always invoke your own attribute as well.
Oh, yeah.
I think yeah.
Now the spade. So I can put out like 2 spades.
Sure. And spades is like friendship, so you would then describe how you use your friendship to how you, in a friendly way, succeed in getting this situation resolved.
All right. I think most of these humans know Bandit, especially if they're
Yeah.
from the neighborhood. So I, being the small dog, I run up and I loop, like up against their legs. I run straight between their legs, rubbing up against one of them as I do, try and get their attention. I bark, spin, and I run over to the boat and do a little doggy parkour off the side of it, maybe rocking it a little bit. Run back over to them and do it over and over again until they pay attention and are like, oh, Bandit, hey, oh, and maybe they'll be like, wow, how does he know about this? Or maybe they're just like, well, oh, hey, there's a boat there.
Yeah, I think if you've got the 2 spades, then yeah, I love the way you described like kind of rubbing against their legs and stuff like that to get them to notice your antics. Yeah, so like you've drawn the human's attention to a boat that is in the neighborhood, and I think Artemis, you might be able to arrive at about this time, and then you can contribute also to the situation. So you see some humans looking at a boat. You see some of your dog friends in the water. You see Snips is still barking his little head off on this concrete box. The box made of the same stuff as the street.
Okay.
And yeah, what are your yeah.
Let's see. I think that. So right now, just to make sure I've got the map correctly. London is closest to me right now, correct?
Yes,
Okay.
probably. Yeah.
Um,
Assuming you came in a normal way. Yeah.
Yeah,
Unless you're.
normal way. And she's gonna run up to where London is at and be like, hi, what's going on? What happened to Snips?
Snips is stuck. Snips is stuck. Daly tried to go help Snips, but Daly's stuck too. Kinda.
Daly could probably at least rescue herself. She's worried about Snips.
And
All right.
Yeah.
Oh, go ahead.
I was just going to say, Snips is still continues to be, freaked out by this situation, like sort of like in a panic, barking, running around, not seeming to really aware of any of y'all's presence.
Okay. So I think what she is gonna do is she's gonna see that Snips is still having his stress situation, clearly. That Daly's trying to help him. And that London is having a bit of a tough time, it looks like, trying to hold on to this leash by herself, or himself. So I think what she's gonna do is look over at Snips and be like, hey, Snips! Snips, it's okay, we want to help! And then she wants to grab onto the leash and, like, maybe a foot in front of where London's at and try to pull it back some so that London gets a little bit of reprieve.
Okay. I think, yeah. So I think the three of you that are all kind of there, I think you're interacting with the humans over a little. You're nearby, Bandit, but the other three of you, I think, since Artemis has initiated this attempt again, I think now you're again going to try to calm Snips down, and the three of you can participate in this conflict, and you need either like 3 hearts, just be charming, or like sort of 4 spades to really cement the like invoke the friendship and the trying to win him over from his position of
Okay.
terror. So
I have 1 spade to offer.
I can offer a spade.
I don't have any spades. I have a heart.
I don't suppose my heart from earlier counts, does it?
you spin it. You spin it.
Yep. So,
I have
Okay.
I have 2. So I have 2 diamonds.
Yeah.
I also
And I
have
could
a
invoke
diamond.
my big condition.
I don't know that attacking him would calm him down.
yeah.
I meant big as in like making it easier, to kind of keep everything steady. But you're right, big is for attacking, so that doesn't really help anybody right now.
I could. It's on my notes, but if you wanted to creatively describe, like, because you were kind of you asked about the shirt, like and like you talked about planning. You had a move planned, Ailey, that you might try. I think I'll give it to you if you want to give me 5 clubs. You can just overpower the situation with your combination of physical attributes.
Hey, y'all, guess what I don't have?
Oh, I was gonna say, I have 2 clubs and my, like, major thing, my breed thing, is club.
Oh,
I have the other 2 clubs if we want to use the clubs
Hey,
instead.
you can
Let's
do that.
I say we do it.
yes. I will contribute
right.
nothing.
All right, so Artemis and Daly, your combination of physical feats. How do you? What exactly happens with this? You're bypassing like calming Snips down, and you're just gonna like resolve the situation. without his freaking out and running around and not assisting his own rescue is what is the conflict that you are now going to end. So how does that end?
I have a suggestion if you need one. If you don't,
Yeah.
I will stay quiet.
I'm listening.
Well, I believe there's still, in a lot of dogs, there's still that ingrained response when you grab the nape of their neck.
That's exactly what I was thinking.
So
was-
I've thought, with Daly being as large as Daly is, and Snips being as small as Snips is, perhaps just a little yoink.
and then we can pull
can-
you back because we have the other end of the leash.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's exactly what I was thinking too. So, hey, great minds think alike. Yeah, Daly's going to gently just get tired of this, grab Snips, gently enough that she's not going to tug on his collar or his harness, and just kind of jump back in and make her way back towards her friends on shore.
Okay, and I think so. You resolved so this conflict by spending all of those cards. You have resolved the conflict of Snips not being wanting to be rescued. I think I still want to have you all make some sort of roll for the actual getting back across the water.
And I think this is
and-
where I'd like to invoke the basically the stay function.
Yes, sure. And I think, let's do this as a sort of a multi-part thing. I think we're going to do not a multi-part thing, but like you can roll each different skills, I think, to try and get a large number of successes, I think. And so, you've got you're swimming daily, so you'll be doing the perform. If you want to stay in place with the thing,
And I think Artemis is pulling. So if Daly's swimming and London is staying, I think Artemis is trying to pull as hard as she can.
Yeah.
okay, I think that might be end up being performing as well. Just
That's kind of what I was hoping.
it's performing a feat of agility or strength. Like that. And then, what do you want to contribute here, Bandit? You've got the humans in the boat, and you've encouraged the humans to get to the boat, and they're kind of getting things ready. And I don't know if I don't want other people to solve the problem while you're not involved. So, like, what is your what kind of skill do you want to roll in this?
Okay. Well,
to kind of contribute to this whole scene that's happening.
Wow. Because so, leading up to this, if I could have gotten the humans to act, it would have been also knowing that this could work. Would have been like fiddling, with human understanding that the boat and how it operates, and that they could have used it to go across the water, or at least maybe create a bridge to help the dogs get out a little easier. But other than that, that's pretty much where I'm at.
No, I think that, that's where you're at. But I think you can all kind of make your rolls, and we'll kind of combine all the successes together, and then we'll kind of, I think, we're feeling real free form. So I think just however many, roll each your individual skills, and we'll kind of see how many successes total we get, and that'll kind of determine the total success of the operation here.
All right.
So I got 2 successes to start with, but I'm also going to add that Becky is probably, in that weird empathic way, aware enough that she'd probably pick up Bandit's cues pretty fast. So if that helps the human side of this speed up a little bit. Becky is a weird human.
Okay.
So
I guess she did meet a whole group of crows in her yard with oh, how delightful! Let's have cornbread, everyone, or
shortbread.
shortbread.
Yeah.
You know, yeah. That's maybe not the. Not every human would respond that way.
Yeah.
Okay, so you got 2 successes. That's great. What's everybody else's role, and what do you got? You don't have to like narrate your logic of how many successes you get to, but like you got 4,
I can fiddle.
Fine.
I can fiddle with the best of them.
and you got 5 for performing. You're very.
I win. It
I have
was
to-
a
I-
competition.
I have to use a pip reroll, not one of my chat rerolls.
All right.
That's better.
Well-
That's two successes to stay.
All right, so that's what 12, 17 successes total as a group here.
Yeah, nice.
I think that's
We did real
sufficient
good.
to resolve this physical everyone can be extracted from this situation. A combination of doggy paddling and rope pulling and people in boats. I think this immediate crisis has been resolved, and you've got everyone to shore in a safe manner. And yeah, and I think the final note for this little section would just be like, in case you hadn't noticed, the lake is it's real high. The lake is very high right now.
Yeah. This is not going to bode well.
So that's sort of like the first little chapter of the adventure. We're a little early to take a bio break, so we can just go into the next events if you want, unless anyone really needs to take a break right now. We good?
I'm all set.
I'm good. We can
All
keep
right.
going.
Yeah, we'll keep going then.
Mechanical question.
Yeah,
The queen that I spent when we were figuring out the spade versus clubs thing, is it still spent or is it going back into my hand before I draw that card back?
If you didn't spend it, if you revealed it but didn't spend it, you didn't spend it. So
Okay.
if you had the conflict that I made you resolve by yourself, and that card you played the
Yeah,
card
that's already over on
that
this end.
one. But if you
That's
were
spent.
if you were saying like, oh, I have this card I could play, but then you didn't you ended up doing the clubs instead, like it's not played until you play it.
Okay.
I took
That's what
I
wanted
took
to
my
make sure.
spade back also, since we didn't actually use spades.
Yeah.
Okay.
You didn't have enough spades, so
You came up
added
with a
a-
creative solution.
you used and I added it. I had only hearts or spades in my notes, but you were having trouble, so I'm like, well, we'll give you a high number of clubs, and you had those too. So great. Okay. Let's see. What do we want to do? Okay. So about the time you get everyone back on shore, and it's kind of like it's kind of like a moment of right, like everyone's sort of like oh wow, that was what a it's almost like that when that happened, like when you're hit with a bunch of adrenaline and you do a thing, and then you like have a moment afterwards to kind of be like, wait, what did I jumped before I thought, and I did the thing, and like you're all kind of at that moment now where you're like, there's no immediate danger in the same way, and the 5 doggos and the 2 people are just kind of there, kind of just all looking at each other like, wow, that all really happened. Wow, I can't believe that went down that way.
London's got pretty, like, kind of like fluffy, dry fur underneath his poncho, so I think he's going to try and like kind of snuggle up to Snips a bit and let him dry off under his coat.
Okay, that's amazing. I like it. Yeah, and
Haley.
go ahead.
I was just saying, Daly's going to walk far enough away that when she shakes the water out of her fur, she's not going to get the humans. She is polite. She may be a little reckless, but she is polite.
I'm sure they appreciate that. Oh, I guess there's 3 humans because you came with Buffy, right, Artemis? Yeah,
Yeah.
so there's 3 humans there. Okay. So about the time that you all are able to like kind of catch your breath, and you're kind of like you hear the humans, the all your best friends are kind of like they're talking, like I can't what. What is this and what happened here, and I can't believe what I just saw, and uh, they didn't even need our help. It's amazing. Dogs are the best.
I, I kind of I'd like to think that the humans looked just in time to see Snips is back on the shore, but they didn't actually see what happened
Oh, all right. Well,
because they were so
they were in
so
the boat.
involved, you know.
That is kind of fun. I do like that. That like sort of like
Yeah.
any of those things where the humans are always clueless about what happened.
Aren't we? Aren't we usually?
Yeah.
Can I get
Hopefully, humans. Yeah. There's. I don't know. We don't need to. I'm gonna let that sleeping dog lie. Okay, so you guys are down. So like right after you get that time to like kind of catch your breath and kind of reorient yourselves, and you're kind of like you're kind of talking to Snips, and Snips is kind of like it's sort of like almost like he's got nothing to say, like he's just sort of like collapsed into like a recovery mode of that like just being so ramped up of like, oh my gosh, all this water, and then he's just kind of like, ugh, like he's almost like not even able to say anything. He's just kind of like shaking in a sort of recovery mode, at least for right now. But then it starts raining some more while you all are having this experience. There was a lull in the rain, but now it like kind of opens up, and it's raining now, and the water continues to pour down the creek and continues to fill this like sort of relatively flat area where you all are standing. And in the few minutes that you're kind of standing there catching your breath, you notice that the lake water has gotten even higher. You know, as you stand there, it is still things are happening. Okay.
If Becky and the other humans don't notice it before Daly and the rest of her pack does, Daly's gonna pitch a fit. Kind of like, something's going on, I don't like it.
Yeah.
Barking.
And
Okay.
London will join in, like kind of running back and forth, like kind of along the water line.
Mm-hmm. Like barking at the water.
Yeah.
Like look at this. Look at
like
this.
an
Look at
aggressive,
this.
like London will like kind of go down and get low and like almost like he's angry at the water, like growl and bark at the water, and then run a little further, do it again.
Artemis is going to see this happen, and she's also going to start pacing, but she doesn't really understand, so she's just like, this puddle is too big, and that's all she keeps saying.
This puddle is too big. Yeah. I mean that is the clear message that is
Being sent, hopefully.
sent. Hopefully, yeah. Okay, so I think so you guys are, yeah, I mean there is some like, and you can kind of yeah, anybody that wants to roll sensing, you can, and you can kind of I'll give you some information depending on if you get it, if you get at least a couple successes, you can perceive some of what's going on next.
Yeah. I've got 2 in sensing and 4 in smarts, so 3 of those pips for 3 extra dice and 1 for a reroll if needed.
Okay, that's likely to mathematically that's potential to be a good roll.
You only needed 2 successes out of us, right?
Yeah,
Okay, yeah. Then I'm not gonna bother rerolling. Well, you know what?
yeah.
I'm gonna. Oh, it's an add +2. Add 1 +2. Okay, no. So yeah, just 2
Yeah.
successes.
Okay,
Yeah.
well that's enough to like you kind of are like barking and like I don't like this here, I don't like this, and the way you're all kind of interacting with the waterfront there and pacing and huffing and trying to draw the attention, like you can sense that the humans are slightly they're feeling worried. They're definitely like, oh yeah, maybe you can't really tell whether they noticed before or not, but like now you definitely get the impression that like, oh yeah, this puddle is too big. This puddle is too big. And they agree with you. You can feel that sort of like, you see it in their faces, you feel it, you can notice it in their posture, like you sense it that they're worried. And so, yeah, they definitely start, like, all of you are kind of like, like Tommy's there and he's like, all right, come on, let's go. And, because you're like kind of, you were snuggling with Snips there. I guess because you said you were running. So, like, he's kind of, holding out his hand, like, give me the leash back. We're gonna go this way now, or the lead. Give me the lead back. It's time to go.
Yeah.
And similarly, Becky is there, and because you slipped out of your leash too, so she does have the lead, and she's trying to get it back on you, or offering for you to come and get it. She's not trying to chase you down, but
yeah. Now, Daly will get back into it because it's also a way for Daly to make sure that Becky stays with her.
Excellent.
I have a quick question.
Yeah.
Did Snips' mom ever show up? Or his best friend? Because, like,
no.
he was out there for a little bit.
He was, and you've been rescuing him, but no, that has not happened yet.
Okay. Artemis won't leave Snips' side then.
Okay.
Not until his best friend has him.
Yeah.
Or his mom, whatever he calls them.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's great. And it's just the three humans here so far. And so you does anybody have, what is the, I guess knowing is the thing.
London has knowing about stuff.
Yeah. I think that's what I want you to. This has prompted a thought to occur, and give me a couple. If you succeed in knowing, you could do it, and you're actually a great character to pull it out too, because your experience with hiking and stuff like that. So.
And away we go. Rolling 3, holding 1. Reroll. That's better. 2 successes, a 5 and a 6.
Okay, so you kind of like Artemis maybe points out like, oh wait, where's the best friend for Snips, and you kind of like, it just kind of occurs to when you're thinking about it that like the way the neighborhood lays out, and like this creek that is coming into the lake now, further upstream when it goes through the neighborhood, like that's, Snips and Snips's pack are from like the other side of the creek from where you guys' houses are. So like at some point, this creek that has now overflown its banks and is pouring into the lake is going to have to be crossed to get Snips back. Snips is from the other side of the creek, ultimately, like upstream somewhere. You just kind of have that realization. As soon as Artemis kind of brings to the attention that like, oh wait, where's Snip's best friend? And you're like, oh, the creek will have to be crossed.
So Snips is from the other side of the creek, other side. Snips is from over there. So Snips's best friend is over there too. Yeah. Maybe they can't get to Snips.
Snips, how'd you end up in the creek?
Just investigating. It was up near my yard. I was I was sniffing around at smelling out all the weird smells that were coming down the water, and I just slipped in, and then I was in the water, and the water carried me away. I fell in up more near the houses, and then I was lucky to catch the I don't know, the pylon or whatever it is that is there at the creek. He doesn't say pylon, but like, I climbed up on the the box made of the same stuff that the curbs are, the sidewalk box. Uh, yeah, I I imagined it being like some sort of like almost like a I don't know, some sort of like public infrastructure thing where they'll have like these big concrete poured things with that are part of like the city drainage system or whatever that are, you know, just kind of in random places. It's like, oh, this is supposed to be a natural area, and it's like, well, no, it still has the city sewer underneath. That's why they have.
Yeah.
I imagined it to be something like that, but you know, uh, big enough that a small little dog would get, you know, trapped by rising water on it. So yeah, so you've made this realization that it's there on the other side. So you're going to have to cross this creek to get Snips home at this point, or at some point. And I think that brings us to halfway through our time together tonight. So if we want to take our little bio break now, we can do that, or we can push on a little further if everyone is okay. Whatever we want to do.
We can go ahead and take a break. I actually have to run my real life puppies really quick, so that's always a good thing.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to do the same here.
Yeah, we'll be back then, everyone,
Bio
in
breaks
about
for
10
All
minutes.
humans and dogs.
All right, see y'all in 10. And we are back. Hello, everyone out there in the wonderful lands of Twitch.
Ooh.
This is the Rook and the Rasp channel, and we are here with Matthew Orr from What Inc. Games playing Heckin Good Doggos. So we're going to get right back into game. Matt, it's all yours.
All right, all right. So you have rescued Snips, and you've realized that the swollen creek now separates you from his home. Somehow you're going to have to get across this, or get him across this creek to fully complete the rescue. And I mean, as you're basically, now that it's raining again, as you're standing here, the water keeps pouring down the creek bed into the lake, which is just the. I love what you said. I'm just going to keep saying it, Artemis. This puddle is too big. This puddle is too big, and it's just getting bigger all the time. So yeah, you are here. I think 3 of you have your best friends with you, and they're sort of like, not necessarily like, helpless beings that you have to also protect, but like you do have to protect them. That's sort of on your minds as well as you stand here in this moment of realization that you will have to cross, that the creek must be crossed. So it's to you as to exactly what you do next, and or if you want to announce how you feel or whatever, that's also fine. But yeah, it's there's some actions to be taken.
Are we still next? Go ahead, John.
No, please.
I was going to ask, are we still like relatively close to where we'd been when we rescued Snips, or have we walked away from the lake?
I think you're still like sort of next to the lake, but the lake has gotten bigger and you've moved away, and I mean you're still in that general area. You could either, you could retreat into the woods if you wanted to. That might be a dangerous option. You could go back into the neighborhood, could follow the creek upwards, wherever you kind of wanted to move from here. But yeah, you're basically still in the general area where this rescue occurred earlier.
Because I technically wouldn't know what this is, but I am going to ask Bandit what he was doing with that big green open thing. The boat.
Oh, the boat?
Yeah. Daly wouldn't know what a boat is. She's never been on one.
It's kind of like a giant...
Bandit, always known about human stuff.
It's like a giant bucket that humans can travel in across water.
Think it would still
Keeps
be
them
useful.
dry. Maybe. For the water levels coming up, whatever we gotta do it soon. It's your dad, or he's got to come back with one of us, and maybe somebody can call his family. I don't mean like bark. I mean like the humans can use their little glowy boxes.
The talk box.
Yeah.
I think Mom's already on the phone, or has been on that talk box. Pretty much the first thing she did when she came up is started talking into it rapidly.
We can always run up the creek and see if we can find a shallow crossing.
Okay, we have our humans with us though.
We can take them home.
Okay.
London, you do long walkies, right?
Long walkies. Yeah.
Long walkies.
Yeah.
Is there a cross for the river? Artemis and her mom really just walk in the neighborhood, and in town they don't really go in the woods. So
there was a cross, and there were some big logs, but they might be underwater now.
it's too. The puddle is too big.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Love it. Yeah. So, yeah, you can, yeah. So you guys, yeah, I don't know, like you're still here. You can move to some other place, or the boats are here. The idea that the boats ideas have been floated. The idea of the boat has been floated, as floating as the boat is floating. Yeah. So I mean, basically, it's basically up to you. This is yeah. What you can start walking. You could try and get the humans to do the boat now. Whatever you want to try and do.
Does the boat look like it could fit 5 dogs and 3 humans?
I think John described it as a two-person boat. So at the outside, maybe, but do you feel? I don't know. How does a dog feel when there's two people sitting on a couch? How does a dog feel about whether or not more people could fit on the couch?
Daily, she could always fit on the couch.
There's always room in a dog's mind, but at the same time, I don't know if the humans are going to figure that out. I mean, are any of the humans even looking at Spence really, or what was his name? I'm sorry.
Snips.
Snips. Are any of the humans even looking at Snips or paying attention to him?
They're kind of. I mean, they're kind of like. They're almost like. They're sort of like, okay, it's we're ready to go, right? Everybody's ready. Like we're gonna leave, and they're kind of maybe. There's none of the talk boxes are out right now, but they're all kind of like conferring with each other. Like it seems like at any moment, either they'll take a sign from you, or you'll take a sign from them. Like, but they're not like ignoring the situation, but it is because you're the PCs. You have to you have to you have to initiate things.
I'm gonna bark at them, and I'll go walk up, sit down next to him, and do the whole put a paw on his head and bark again.
To Snips or to?
Yeah, I put a paw on Snip's head, and I'm barking at the humans.
So one thing that I was gonna note is that I think Artemis gave Snips her hat, her little rain hat that her mom had for her, and I think it's just kind of like on top of him. He was a Chihuahua, right?
I think he was like a little.
Guy.
I was thinking even more like
Terrier,
a Yorkshire
right?
Terrier, like a little.
That's right. Okay.
Little tiny terrier.
Either way, he's very tiny, and I think that Artemis's hat would fit over his little back, and so he's probably sitting
More of a
underneath
turtle than a
that,
dog.
trying to help him
Yeah, swallowed in a
keep
big
out
hat.
of the rain as much as possible,
Yeah,
considering he was just
this is
stuck
great.
in the middle of a lake.
You've really helped him out here with all this.
Just for the audience, their visuals of the scene.
Oh, it's great. It's great.
See that just
So you're kind of pointing at you're pointing at Snips and like kind of looking at the humans like, that's what you said, Bandit.
Yeah, I'm just
All right.
I'm trying to draw their attention, and I'll even like knock his tags like with my my muzzle ever so often. Put another paw on top of him.
Okay. I think what I think a human will pick him up. Then I think one of the humans will pick him up. It's not like he can't walk, but they'll like, oh yeah, you're right. He was in the water. You'll pick him up. I don't know if one of the three of you whose best friend is here wants to volunteer.
I think Buffy would grab him.
Okay.
yeah.
Because even if she doesn't directly know his parents with her social media connections, it's likely that if she were to post something and be like, hey, we found this dog, it would be easier for
Yeah.
that to get
Plus,
out to the public.
Snips looks absolutely ridiculously adorable in your
Oh,
rain
yeah.
hat.
Absolutely.
I mean,
Exactly.
Talk
it's
about
kinda-
photo
Buffy could
opportunity.
not pick her up.
Exactly.
I was thinking kind of the same thing. Yeah, it's yet another photogenic moment. Buffy can just find him at all times.
Always.
Buffy's good at that.
Buffy and Artemis together, they're a team.
Yeah, they are. Too.
Okay, so you've got Snips has been picked up, and where do you want to do? What do you want to head or go or what?
I am gently going to suggest that we all move away from the lake
Yeah,
at this point.
that sounds good.
Yeah, London will
Artemis is
definitely
tired of
start.
getting rained on.
London will definitely start kind of like pulling Tommy toward home.
Okay. Okay. So you guys are you've got Snips in tow. You've got your humans there. You've got your you move back up, kind of away from the lake, out from this further away from the wilderness area. Um, you maybe stay a little bit near the creek, so you can kind of like you were saying earlier that there might be a place to cross further up. I believe you said that, London, or
Well,
you
I
suggested
think
that.
I did suggest that, but in interest of, I guess London will float to the group. Oh, we should get our best friends home, and then we'll get Snips home. Let's get them home though.
Sounds
I'm
good.
I'll my best friend's not here. I'm gonna circle to the fort, and I'll see if any of the wild ones are nearby and know what's going on. If maybe they know a way across.
That sounds like a plan.
We'll meet you at the fort.
All right.
Okay. Oh. All right.
The question becomes, how do we get Snips from Buffy now?
Oh,
yeah.
I had a plan.
Okay.
We were gonna see if it worked, but I had a plan.
Okay. Let's see. So the other three of you are heading back up to your with your best friends. You're heading back up to like your area of the neighborhood.
Yeah.
Okay. Let me see.
Becky might even be following Tommy because Tommy's a retired cop, right? He's got emergency planning for training.
Tommy definitely has some connections in the local departments.
So,
Yeah, and yeah, there's yeah, there's some pieces that might that knowledge may come in handy. Let's see. So you who go back up to the neighborhood area, you are able to I think the when you get back up to kind of the area where there's like houses, grass, and yards and stuff like that, the stuff you're more familiar, you see a site that's pretty unusual. What you would consider to you're familiar with how when it rains, the water flows across the black stripes that the big red boxes travel upon, and there's these slats in the sides of the street where the water goes down into who knows where it goes. It goes down into the street, right? As you get back into your neighborhood, up away from the wilderness area into your neighborhood, there's actually like the water has pooled in those areas. It's not going down anymore. There's actually like water sort of bubbling, almost like they look like little fountains that are like more churn, not fountains as in like, but like sort of bubbling up out of those things. The pond, it's just pooling. The water is coming down the street and just pooling as these in these areas that are spreading from the sewer grates. There's lots of water under the street. Is what you can intuit from that. And so it feels like this is a situation that is getting better very quickly. Isn't getting better very quickly. So you all maybe are picking up now on some of the worries your humans that are three of you that are kind of coming in together there are yeah, you're picking up that their intention has increased as you arrive back in the area that has the houses and carts. Bandit, you said you wanted to run off into the woods. So, what is, what is, what are you doing?
I want to circle to the our fort where the all the wild dogs for that the big meat that we had been using that kind of as a base. So I'm hoping that maybe I can go there, find someone that knows more of what's going on, have a better idea of the danger because this is more of a nature or wild thing that's taking place, and hopefully have a better idea how to plan for whatever's coming.
Okay, that's pretty cool. So yeah, you head off to your little treehouse. You know where that is. You can get there. The ground here is, it. It's even though it's in the woods, it still feels that sort of like saturated quality that we started the whole evening talking about, where like anytime you step, it just turns into a puddle almost, as you're pushing the soil down. Yeah, you get there to to the the treehouse, and yeah, what do you call out like?
Yeah, I
What do you?
bark. I bark twice out there and see if anybody responds.
Let's see who would respond in this situation. Uh, and you said specifically you were looking for one of the wild doggos. So let's say that it's one of the yeah, it's one of the maybe a coyote, like not quite like a full wolf, but like, sort of dog like, but not exactly dog like. Sort of feels, um, you know, familiar, but not that familiar, right? Like you're not exactly comfortable with this creature. They put you off a little bit just from like they don't smell like a dog, that kind of stuff. But they're kind of like a dog, not really. But yeah, so they're there, and there's one of those that's kind of like uh, maybe in the in the treehouse if you're like down on the ground. That kind of like sticks its head out and like it's like yeah, what do you you know what do you want, neighborhood dog? Like you should be leaving here now.
I'm Bandit.
Don't you know that?
I'm Bandit. I'm the one who's been leaving the food for everyone here.
Yeah, we appreciate it, and it's almost like a cackle, and you hear like maybe some laughter from inside the house too. Some other voices. There's more in there. Like, yeah, we appreciate it. We appreciate it.
Water's rising at the big pond. You know anything about what's going on?
Oh, it happens sometimes. The rains come. The rains come, and the water gets high, and then it stays high for a while, but then it goes away again.
Does
But
we need to get to the other side of the lake?
and this coyote kind of like, you know how like a dog will sometimes like kind of cross its legs and put its snout like on its arms or on its forepaws. Have you ever seen a this coyote is kind of like does that as it's still at kind of above your level, kind of like looking down on you with sort of like relaxed position. Um, like, oh, it'd be very hard now. The water is going to keep rising for a while. You should run along. You um, it's you should run along now. It's not going to stop anytime soon.
Do you not know of any place to go across?
Uh, oh, I mean, you said lake, but I assume you mean the creek. Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah. Um, you'll have to. I mean, if you're determined to get across, I would recommend, far away from the lake, as far away from the lake as you can get. Uh, where the water first starts to trickle. Where the water used to be a trickle, now it'll be a creek. Where the water used to be a creek, now it's a lake. You got to go to where it started. You might still have a chance. But you should leave. You should just leave.
And I give it like a little grunt kind of bark with that, huh, and I take off back towards the neighborhood.
Okay. And then so I think. Okay. So yeah, you're running, and you have as you start to run, you kind of the sort of laconic, lazy, sort of like almost sinister approach that these coyotes were taking. It just gives you like a real sort of like this they've instilled in you a real sense that like things are very wrong, and like they're telling you to leave, and you're sort of like, yeah, I get it. I think I should leave. Like you're not necessarily convinced and ready to leave, but like you're definitely like you're feeling that something is very wrong. And as you're running back to through what should be familiar territory, you see the same thing that I described a moment ago with the grates in the streets backing up, and just water. It's almost like the lake is just now coming up through the streets, and you know everything is being replaced. All the neighborhood that is being replaced by like brown, muddy, flat, bubbly water just everywhere. And as it continues to rain, you're just like, this is very wrong. Everything I'm seeing is not the way it should be, and you're sort of filled with a sense of boding on some level. And so the rest of you are back in your neighborhood, and while Bandit went to the woods. I don't know. You said you had a plan for the resolution of this or getting Snips back home. I think if you've yeah. So tell me about your strategy now that you've walked your humans back to the houses that you all know so well.
So, my idea here is similar to how Artemis usually gets out of the yard, which is jumping on a hedge and then over the fence, but what she would like to do. So, her mom is very eco-friendly. We established last time that she's a vegetarian, and she's just like doing everything she can to try and help Mother Earth, and in the process, she only uses the reusable fabric tote grocery bags when she goes to the store. And so what Artemis is going to suggest is she's going to grab one of these bags because they hang on a closet in the house, and she's going to bring it to Snips and say, we're gonna get you home, but I need you to get in this bag.
Yeah, I think Snips is at your disposal. He's, your best friend was the one who carried him here, and you were part of the rescue. So like he's willing to kind of like accept whatever you have suggestion wise.
Okay.
So
And I'll
if you've
tell
got
him.
a bag,
It'll be a little rough at first. We gotta go over the fence, because otherwise we're stuck inside. But we go over the fence, and then we get you home.
okay, he's sure, and he's almost kind of like excited by that prospect, like kind of like maybe the first time you've seen him today, be at all animated. Like, oh yeah, home is yes, what do I go in the bag now, or like
Just a second. And she's going to check to make sure that Buffy is distracted, and then she's going to quickly grab the little rain hat and put it in the bag, and then step into her boots. She can't put on her raincoat by herself, but she can slip into her little boots, and then let Snips borrow the hat so that he can stay dry too.
That's cute.
And then we'll work on sneaking out.
all right, yeah, I mean I think you're ready. Like, so you've got he's got his hat on still, and you've got your boots on, and you're ready to go.
Yeah.
So I think did I miss how the bag comes into this, or
So he has to
is it
climb
about to be?
into he's going to climb into the bag, and she's going to pick the bag up with her mouth and
Okay.
use it, which is why she let him know that it was going to be a little bit rough, because she was going to carry him as she jumped up and over the fence.
Okay. Yeah. So I think you pick him up like that, and he's kind of like, at first he's sort of like trying to look out the bag, and so he's kind of like, almost like his head is right underneath your chin as you've got the bag in his in your mouth.
Got a squish. And she squish.
He's like, oh, okay, I can do that, and then he's in the bottom of the bag.
Cool. Do I need to roll to see if I can get out of the fence with
I think
successfully?
I think yeah, no, I don't think like this is I don't think we gain anything narrative from. You can, I imagine that you're a big enough dog that it's not going to be too much of a challenge for you to carry this bag up and over the fence. So yeah, I think you can do that, and yeah. So you're just going to go out the dog door, I assume, like you've done before, and the key to your collar, right?
Yes,
And,
exactly.
And yeah, so you can do it the same way that you've escaped multiple times. Go back outside, and it's still raining, and you can jump over this fence and be outside your yard.
Awesome.
All right, and you're off on your own here. This
Yeah. So
adventure.
I think in my please tell me if I'm completely off the mark with this, but in my headcanon, I live like a house down, maybe, from London. Like, we are basically neighbors.
Yeah, I think you all live.
There's a cat owner between us.
Oh, those guys. But yeah, I would head right over to London's house, and also see if Snips would like to get out and walk with us, so that he can show us which house this is, because we don't know.
Okay. And you, at your place, after you got back to your place, London, like, Tommy was like loading up. You were loading up the car, like not the fun car that you go on like exciting rides with the top down in, like the regular everyday car. So like he's sort of not paying attention to you exactly right at the moment because he's like loading up some stuff into that car.
All right.
Which you think he doesn't go anywhere regularly, so you maybe notice that, but you also notice that his attention is divided.
He probably looks a little bit. He's very focused, and he's likely he's on and off of his talk box a lot. And he's got another talk box in the house that he just turns a dial on, and it's kind of loud, and it sounds like people talking back and forth.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of weird noises and squelches and squeaks, and he's had that on since we got home.
Yep, I think that's a perfect ad. I think that's great. So here comes Artemis and with Snips in tow, and they're at your place now.
All right, let's go find your house. Snips, you know how to get back to your house, right?
Oh yeah, I think so.
Yeah,
It just should be right over here, and
Yeah. Okay, we should. Are we gonna get Daly and Bandit, right? We're gonna get them too.
Yes.
More paws make light work.
I'll pause. And I feel like Daly is probably closer than Bandit at this point. So maybe we go.
Daly might even just live like across the street from the cats.
We mentioned as we were like kind of splitting up that I think we said we'd meet Bandit at the fort. So maybe we get together and then kind of meet in the middle. If Bandit's coming back.
Yeah.
You did say that, so yeah. I think either way, either you do it or like that, or
Let's go get Daly, and then we'll head to the fort to meet Bandit.
All right.
Okay, let's go.
all right. And
Come
then
on, Snip, this way. I mean, sorry. Third, second running montage. I can't
What?
count. Nothing. I don't know what I'm talking about. Just
oh, running montage. Is that what you said?
yes.
Does that count the opening of the show?
That's
The
what I was
video-
wondering. That's why I was like, is it the third or the second? Does it count that? Does it not? Where do we fall here? It's great.
I think chat can answer that one for us. Okay, so you all, you're gonna assemble. I don't think if you want to add any detail about what you did when you first got home, or what Becky did when you first got home, Daily, you can add that little bit of detail. But I think we'll get everybody together here pretty quickly.
Becky's probably going to have on her school laptop just nothing but different text message boxes. And then one of the talk boxes is going to be like in her hand, and then her desktop PC is probably going to be up on like weather radars and other sort of meteorological information. Daily
Sure.
wouldn't know what any of that is, but for
Maybe.
the human knowledge bits.
Sure. All right. So also easily distracted, perhaps, and
Very easily distracted.
you can get out of the house. Okay, so you meet up and you head down, as London suggested, toward the fort, but you meet Bandit coming the other way. So yeah, you can all be together here in the street, the five of you dogs, and yeah, whatever you're gonna head next. What do you say, Bandit, when you meet them up? When you meet
Hey.
up with them?
Hey, coyotes have taken over the clubhouse. They say the water's getting higher. We need to go where it was shallowest to begin to get across. So we go upstream.
London, have you ever been up that way?
We've taken walks that way. I can probably get us there. I mean, all we have to do is follow the stream.
No?
I love streams.
Yeah.
But she means like Instagram streams, not.
Let's go. They said it's going quick, so we need to be quick ourselves.
All right. So you, London, using your sort of mini. I think I don't think you'll need to roll for like knowing again, but like you've got your sort of map of the neighborhood. You know where you've gone on walks before, so you can definitely get them to a little bit upstream. And I imagine that there's sort of like there's kind of like a there's a place you know of where there's sort of like there's a big road, like a really big road, one that you don't walk across because it's that big, and there's like an opening in the underneath that road, and that's sort of like usually there's nothing. There's like no. It's like way on the far side of the neighborhood. Usually there's like nothing coming out of that opening, and it slowly, but like when it rains, it trickles, and that eventually turns into the creek that you all have crossed. That it falls into the lake at the other side of the. So you go all the way to the east side of the neighborhood where that where that culvert opens from under the highway, and you know that's where you know that that's sort of like the start of, at least as far as your knowledge goes. That's where this started, and so you get up there to that area, and it is it's definitely flowing out of there. It's like more water's coming out of there than you've ever seen before, but it is definitely like a lot narrower of a place to cross than where the creek met the lake where you were earlier. So yeah, you can probably and this is sort of like, it's almost like anticlimactic at this point, but yeah, just some sort of like figure out some way to get across this like relatively small but still it's still kind of flowing as a stream, but it's definitely like a place where you could think of something. You could think of something. You could try something. You could swim across. Like there's almost anything. Like basically, I'm just saying, like, somebody make a successful skill roll, and then tell us what you're trying to do.
Can Daily investigate, like, just kind of cautiously walk out into it to investigate how deep it gets or how fast it's moving? See if
yeah, I mean, you can do that. I don't think you'll need many successes at all to determine that.
Alright. That would be my investigation. Pull that up. So I've got 1 point in investigating, 3 points, 3 pips in braving, so I'm going to use 2 of those pips for 2 extra dice, and 1 for a reroll if need be. That's on the table. 1 success on that one.
Oh yeah, I mean, this is you could cross it. I mean, it's flowing and it's strong, but it's like, you're a big dog. Like, you feel like you could walk across this if you wanted to. It's probably a couple dog lengths wide at this point. Like, as it has that initial like gushing that comes out of the hole in the wall that the road is underneath, but it it spreads out into like a couple dog depths of water. Before it even meets with like it's got like it usually has like dirty like a trickle through the mud, but like right now it's just a flow that's a few feet deep, a few feet wide, and
A few feet wide, and like maybe a
couple
few
feet
inches
deep at most.
A couple feet deep, okay.
Measure-
Like maybe
come
18 inches at most, probably.
Okay.
It's not
Measuring
much.
with-
It's not much.
Measuring with dog sizes is what we call the Petrick system.
That's good.
Thank
good.
you.
So-
I was trying really hard to hold that in.
So
No, that's good. So yeah, so in Petrick measurements, it's like 1 bandit deep and 2 dailies long.
yeah,
Which means someone's gonna have to carry Bandit.
probably going to end up being Daily. So do we still have the bag that Snips was in getting
Yes.
out of your place?
If Artemis loses the bag, she'll get in trouble. So
Oh. So
The planet will die if you
the
don't
planet
have
will
these bags.
die.
So,
There's these big embroidered C's on the bag.
so maybe we get Snips back in the bag and I carry him across. Bandit, you're okay with riding on top?
Oh, I can find a way.
Alright. Holler if you need the actual assistants.
Well,
Oh,
I'm pretty much going to find, like, you said that there's a pipe coming out, right? And
yeah,
that's
it's
where the
like a
majority of
hole. Yeah, it's like a hole. Like it's a, it's a, it for human terms, it's a culvert. So like to the dog, it's like there's this wall and there's a hole in it, and the water's coming out of the hole.
I I'm gonna say that if the well, so it's just a hole. It's not like the pipe extends a little way out.
Yeah, yeah. Like
Okay, there we go.
there's the opening is flush with the wall. Um, yeah, but
And
it's yeah. You were
somebody
gonna.
has brought it up, it is Barcore time.
All right.
So yeah, I will find a way across using my agility.
Awesome.
I'll go ahead and do one performing, and do you want me to go ahead and roll it, or am I just gonna make it?
Yeah. If you're trying some parkour, I think I have to make you roll it. Like.
Okay. I'll add 3
That's-
to my skill, and then I have 1 in performing. I'll add 3, and I'll save 1 for a reroll if necessary. I'm gonna reroll 2 of them, and that gets me 3 successes out of the 4 dice I rolled. So that's a 5, 5, and a 6.
Oh well, that's enough to be perfectly deft and even theatrical in your. I imagine you're thinking. Well, you tell me what kind of freestyle dog walking do you do?
Well, I would imagine I run at the culvert coming out of the wall, and right before I get to the edge of it, I jump off I run, kind of leap off the wall next to the hole and jump over the water and onto the other side.
Sounds very impressive. The rest of you are, I think, large enough dogs that you won't have to like make any rolls necessarily if you all want to cross over the water. It's not quite deep enough that like you have to swim daily. The other 2 of you are pretty good size. You could probably get up a run and hop over if you wanted to, London. If all of you are crossing the creek at this point.
Yeah.
Okay.
I take the bag from Artemis because out of all of us, I have the best chance of, not getting swept away. Imagine we waited for Bandit to get across first just to make sure that we didn't need to rescue it.
I think it worked out.
Bandit
think it worked out
has
great.
clearly shown his skill level, his
Oh, yeah.
adeptness at
You,
parkour.
you may not have felt like you needed. You were just waiting to see what he would do. Like you were sure that he would be okay. You just were waiting to see how he did it. Okay, so my adventure notes have anticipated slightly different things happening, and I know that we don't have a ton of time left, so I don't want to. I don't want to short circuit the work that you all have put into getting to this point, but I also don't want to belabor the rescuing of your doggo frenemy here. So why don't you each kind of like quickly add some sort of like, now that you've crossed the creek, that's sort of like the big thing. Like you had to know where to go and you had to get across. But like, what is you won't face any major obstacles necessarily to get him returned home. But what is kind of what does that look like as you yeah, I mean, just I guess each of you just give a couple like sort of like vignettes of your seeing him off to whatever point that you take snips to.
Probably I imagine that we run back to the equivalent of their neighborhood. Try to find a place dry enough to drop him off, away from the water that he was sniffing before that swept him away.
Mhm.
I'd
Yeah.
like to try to get as close to his house as possible, if we can.
Yeah.
I think we're
Okay.
definitely letting Snips lead the way because this isn't our territory.
Mm-hmm.
Sure. That's a good point. Good point. Anything you want to add to the ad, Corey?
Uh, Once they're across, Daly might actually stay at the crossing point just because she's not in her territory. She knows that this is another pack's territory, and she's big. She looks threatening, even if she's actually a sweetheart. So she's just gonna stay at the crossing, and she knows London will howl if she's needed.
That's right. London has the howl. Okay, and so you kind of you have Snips, and Snips is you're kind of protecting
Oh.
him, kind of leading him, or letting him to kind of
Yeah.
through his part of the neighborhood, and it doesn't take it. It's sort of like uh, after a little bit of like being able to move on his own fully, and kind of the confidence gained from like being back on his side of the creek, he kind of like starts off slow but picks up speed a little bit, and none of you have like necessarily trouble keeping up with him or anything like that, but he gets a little closer back to his street, his confidence kind of increases, and he's like, oh yeah, I know what we're doing here, I know what we're doing. And about the time that he really starts to pick up speed, you actually see you recognize Cicero, the which I forget what breed Cicero was, but one of Snip's friends, and a couple people are out they're searching the neighborhood, and you hear them like basically, come on, come on, come on, where have you been, and that kind of stuff. So like you are able to kind of like either wait and let them have their little moment of reunion, go and join in, and it can be just a whole mess of wagon tails, whatever you all want to do. But you see the moment of reunite between like a human and Snips and one of the humans, who you presume is his best friend, because the person picks him up and stuff. So
Start smothering him in kisses.
exactly.
Gotta go. Gotta go.
Yeah, gotta go. All right. So, when you, we're gonna cut forward here in time a little bit, and you guys make your way back around from the edge of the neighborhood, back across the creek, back to your part of the neighborhood, and it is you can kind of see like down the street, that the water that you saw, the puddle, the too big puddle that you saw, all the puddles have, not all of them, but like there's a lot of like further away from your neighborhood, closer to the lake, you can see that the puddles have all started to like merge together, and they're just kind of coming up the street, and it's still raining, and there's the little like ripple of water is just coming down the street like when it really rains, and because it's raining everywhere, and the water is actually like backing up to almost to your street where you all live now. And you see when you get back to the neighborhood, you see Tommy's like got his vehicle, and he's like the car, it's going, he's ready to drive it, and but there's still like this conference of people, and the person that you don't like in the driveways, and they're kind of like they're talking to they're at your, like, Tommy's with the car, but the other two people are at your place at the garage, Bandit, and they're talking to Jimmy, and Jimmy's in the garage, and you get there, and Jimmy is like on there's like a chair, like that he likes to sit in. It's like kind of his chair that sometimes he'll take it out into the driveway and sit in just in the cool of the evening. but that chair's in the driveway or in the garage right now. He's sitting in it, and he's got like his arms crossed and like a big scowl on his face, and he has a "I am here and I'm not leaving" kind of posture to him. And the other two people are kind of they're talking to him. They're like, "Come on, we got to go," and he's like, "Nope, not gonna go. This all my stuff is here, and it's just I can't leave. I can't leave all these things." And, like he's pointing at like all the tools that he does to work on the cars, pointing at like his workbench. He points at like he's like, "I can't leave this stuff. I can't leave everything here." And the two Becky and Buffy are trying to encourage him. And you're there, Bandit, now as well.
I'm like I walk up kind of annoyed that he's obviously refusing to go with the pack, and I'm like, hey, hey. And I go over and I like grab his leg, like in my mouth, like his pant leg, and I'm tugging on it.
All right. And I think the rest of you dogs can be there as well. I assume like you're kind of like the humans are all, you're all kind of there together, I guess. Within sight of each other, because like Becky and Buffy were there talking to Jimmy, and so.
I imagine like Tommy's like trying to hand out like these stacks of like small brown sacks to a bunch of people, and like talking about sand and
Sand. I think it's. I think there's not a lot of other people. I think like this kind of little. I think you see that there aren't a lot of other people there. I don't think they're like this is not a sandbag operation. This is like a.
Oh, I assumed it was just like like a couple of the neighbors, like the local people.
No, I think your little group of people is the last people to leave this area.
Okay.
Is what I imagine.
Got it.
Yeah. So I have set this up as a conflict with Jimmy, and this is going to take either. I think it's going to take. It's going to take some spades. You're really going to have to be some friends here. I think it's going to be 5 spades, or let's go with 6 clubs, because you already did 5 clubs earlier in this session. So I think you're going to have to either really convince him of a breakthrough with a lot of friendship, or I think you're going to have to manhandle this human, dog handle this human, dog paw the human.
Well, I can definitely, I can definitely contribute 1 spade, but I do have 2 clubs if it came to it.
Yeah, I have a spade and a club each. So.
I have a single spade.
I got nothing.
Oh no.
And I have 3 hearts and a diamond. That's not help.
Oh no.
Oh no.
How many spades do we have for the group? I mean, I had 1 spade.
I
3.
think you had 3.
Yeah.
And then I have 2 clubs. Did anyone else have clubs?
I have a single club.
Goose egg.
Wow.
I have a question,
Yeah.
and this would be a mechanical question, more for John, but also you. Can I use my last purchased reroll, the channel reroll, to, instead of reroll, redraw a couple of cards?
I leave that up to Matt. He's the
Yeah.
GM.
No, I mean, this is the live streams are for altering events with viewer contributions. So I think I would, I think you can refresh. I would say any of you can use rerolls that are available to the channel to refresh as many of your cards as you want to. I think that's an appropriate use of a channel reroll.
I think I will do the same.
Yeah.
I have one London reroll left. So
Well, we do have 3 clubs out if it came to it. So we only need 2 more clubs if it was manhandling, right?
Dog pawing.
Dog paw,
I
yeah.
have a club.
And I have a club.
I have 3 spades.
I have a spade.
So I
All
guess
right,
this
so
point comes down to,
you-
yeah.
You can discuss what this. Yeah.
I'm just gonna put my spades out there so they add to the numbers.
No, I did put that there on purpose.
So I think it would be easier to friendly use the spade option.
Definitely more thematic to our pack.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you haven't done too much of the other.
Yeah. Especially considering Daly walked up to Becky and just kind of nuzzled into her and gave a very concerned whine.
Hmm.
A little, oh.
Yeah, I would, if we go spades, I pretty much let go of his leg, and I sit there and I look at him, and I give him the most pathetic, wide-eyed puppy whine,
Mm.
you know, to tear at those heartstrings. And then, anyone else? I mean,
Yeah, you're all. Anybody who threw in some of the spades, like tell us what your friendly move is to convince Jimmy that this is not a time to sit in his house, not a time to sit in his garage.
I think Artemis is gonna nudge him a little bit. Go up next to him and like push him on the back of the leg so that like his knee bends a little bit
Mm.
to try to get him to.
I think like in conjunction with that, I think London's gonna like kind of gently grab the other pant leg in his mouth and like kind of pull, not hard, but you know, just kind of a. In a low whine while he's doing it.
All right, you all are being very insistent, and I think it's sort of like you kind of feel, especially you, Bandit, that because this is your best friend here, like you kind of feel the like you feel the change in his mood, right? He's like, and he pretends to be kind of grumpy and about it, right? Like, oh, and then pretty quickly after that breaking of the tension before any delays, right? Like you're all ready for him to go. All the other humans are ready to go. You've got like kind of a little caravan of vehicles that are set, and I think Tommy takes out like a red flashing bubble light and like magnets it on the top of the truck and kind of leads your little caravan of people driving out of the neighborhood. You're going to take a drive, got some stuff, but I think what we're going to end on, a real sober note here, is you've been able to take, the humans have gathered some, your friends have all gathered some stuff into these vehicles, but they haven't gathered everything, and I think I want you to all share like something that you have had to leave behind in the neighborhood as you escape the rising waters.
London had to leave behind his favorite chew stick.
All right.
He picked it up on a hike. He's had it for a couple weeks. It's his favorite. And it's in the backyard.
All right.
Daly's big bed that's next to Becky's desk probably would not fit into whatever vehicle Becky had, if she even had one. But the thing that matters most to Daly is in a seat, and Daly's probably got her head on her lap. So.
Yeah. Perfect.
I'm gonna say for Bandit, he actually still kind of has his bed from when he was a puppy. His dad bought or his best friend bought a secondhand like cat condo, one of those little fur interior lined with the hole going into it, and he that was his when he was a puppy. And when he got too big to fit inside of it, he laid just on top of it and crushed it down. And that was essentially his, his dog bed. And so that ended up having to be left behind.
And Artemis's mom, when she first brought Artemis home, gave her a little stuffed hedgehog. And it's Artemis's favorite toy, and anytime that she's in the house, she has it with her pretty much all the time. But before she leaves, she always hides it because she doesn't want it to go missing. She has to know where it is. So her favorite little stuffed hedgehog that she's had.
Right. Because of course Buffy couldn't find it.
Yeah, it's wedged right now, like behind the couch. And we're just gonna have to see what happens.
Yeah. All right. Well, I think so. Those are the things that you leave behind, and I think I like what. I mean, so I think we're. So I think you get out of the neighborhood. I like the. Corey, that but the most important thing is here with me, so that's great. Because that's kind of the point of this. Like, you've lost some things in the neighborhood, but you've made it out of this area, this natural disaster, with your humans and with your pack intact, and you'll probably spend a few stressful days at like some sort of like marshalling area, and you may have to go live somewhere else for a little while, but we'll see exactly how long you're gone and exactly what we come back to next time.
Episode's official title is Things We Lost in the Flood.
I think there's another game called that. I think my notes have water everywhere, but that's pretty good. Things We Lost in the Flood. So, yeah, I think that's all the material that I had planned for tonight. You guys escaping safely through some various high water adventures, and I don't want to totally end the stream on a downer. So I think we're going to do what we've done before, the stars and wishes that we've done before, like what's a moment of that you want to highlight, give a star to a performance, to a line throughout the evening, then wishes about like what we want to see, like having left things on such a cliffhanger. What do you want to see in the game next time, or what do you hope to see next time? So anybody want to share first?
I will say I loved all my castmates, the way that you all jumped in with the rescue at the start of the episode, and just going in full on. I absolutely love that. So that's definitely my star for the night, was that scene. Everybody, I've really loved how you all contributed.
Yeah, I mean, Daly literally leapt before she thought, because she does not have any performance for such a big dog. Her priority was, another dog is in trouble, let me see what I can do. So that was definitely a fun one. London jumping in there too, using the leash. Like, that is definitely one of my favorite moments, is just like the individuality coming together of all of this pack. And Bandit getting the attention of the humans too.
Yeah, it was a big...
the boats were a really smart idea.
That was.
Had to do something. I'm the small dog. But for me, sorry, keep going. Sorry.
Well, let's just, you both did stars, so anybody want to, let's just finish up the stars. Michael, you want it? What's your moment?
I liked I loved that Bandit's idea was to rally the humans to help, even though we kind of jumped the gun and the rest of the group kind of started their own thing. I was actually interested to see if the humans were going to figure out, hey, there's a dog stuck over there. We should probably help it.
Yeah. Uh, I I didn't have any humans at all in that part of the, but you all brought your humans along. So then there was more. There were different options available.
But I also loved about that the humans did what you would expect the humans to do, which is they all kind of got on their phones and were like, we should do something.
I'm calling the authorities. I'm calling my friends.
Where's this dog's owner?
Yeah.
I also really loved all the teamwork of everyone
You all did a great job.
being able to save Snips and then get him all the way home and safe. That just, it makes me happy.
That does. I mean, as for what I'd like to see out of the next
Yeah.
session, just fun, the recovery, but how sometimes recovery makes some really interesting friendships out of everything. That kind of mutual aid situation.
Yeah, I like that. I like saying it that way. That's good. Yeah.
I'd actually like to know how the other, it's a small thing in a way, but I'd like to know how the other pack made out with all this. I think I'd for the closure overall, kind of that bond coming back.
Yeah, I second that one. I actually like the idea of this rescue in some form or fashion, kind of bridging the gap between the packs, easing the relationship or easing the tension, of the territories and like that type of thing. Not that there was ever really like a gang war, but seeing something like that, like kind of at least referenced to there being another part to the risk that was taken by the pack. Like we did it out of the goodness of our hearts, but what were the repercussions?
Okay, great. Cece?
I think I'd like to see the squirrel from the first episode again.
All right.
Yeah.
He was so sweet.
Bring it full circle.
Yeah, just bring it full circle.
Yeah, see how the other animals, the other species
basically,
came through too.
Make sure that everybody's okay as opposed to just like checking in with other pups.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that gives me some stuff to plan. And again, I really appreciate you all playing. And I don't know if, I mean, you all got into the spirit of this particular game. You had some forewarning that it would be a little more somber, perhaps. So I'm glad you all played into that. It's great. You've been great to play the game with you for the last 3 weeks, and looking forward to finishing it up next time.
For sure.
For sure.
I guess we're out a little early.
Sure.
Yeah.
For sure. We're done slightly early. Do you have any like channel announcements, or we want to do our socials again or anything?
I do have we have a couple things to announce really quick. So Thursday is going to be one of our big combat war episodes for Ninja Crusade. I'm kind of looking forward to it. We're planning on going a little bit long that evening, but if you want to see mass combat for that game, that'd definitely be a good time to be there. Friday is the final episode for our other game that's a mini series going on right now, which is the Escape, using Battlelords of the 23rd Century, which is a new. It's a system that's been out for a long time, but they have just released it, are planning to kickstart it for Savage Worlds. So that is on Friday. And as far as Saturdays go, we actually have Saturdays off for the next 2 months with con season because a lot of our people work at various conventions and everything else. So in August we will be back for Seriously Let's Play, and we're talking about the first game off the bat being Thirsty Sword Lesbians. I believe is going to be first game off the bat. So looking forward to that.
Fun.
But those are our channel announcements right now.
All right.
Yeah.
I don't know if we want to do our final. Here's where you can find me. You can do that, I guess, and then I think we'll wrap up a few minutes early.
Yeah.
Again, I'm Matthew Orr. You can find uh, our games at waitinggames.com or Instagram, and check out Heckin Doggos currently is pre-order and on the Kickstarter page. You can find it there.
All right. I guess I'll go next. You can find me playing at the Midnight Alley podcast. Find us on Instagram, which will have a link to our YouTube. Speaking of mass combat, our next session on Monday night is going to be a 12 versus 12 schoolyard rumble sort of scenario because
Wow.
our our characters are part of a skirmish team at the university they attend, and it's a fight day. It's gonna be fun.
Nice.
Yeah, looking forward to it.
Y'all can find me online, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, all the things at Cecilencio. You can also find me on the Drunken Geek podcast. You can find us anywhere on the internet at Drunken Geek Pod.
And I'm Michael. You can find me on the socials at LoserMLW. And you can find me on the Redemption Podcast, which is at redemptionpodcast.com. You can also find me at the Identico channel on Twitch or YouTube. And that's IDENTECO. And that's an independent cyberpunk game that's pretty awesome.
Sounds like fun.
Absolutely. All right, everyone. Well, we're going to go ahead and call it for the evening then. Get out there, have a great time, and we will see y'all later. Night, everybody.
Night.
Night.
Have fun for conventions, y'all.
Woot woot.